Here we have the Global Sumud Flotilla. This is the latest flotilla sailing to Gaza in an attempt to break the illegal siege on Palestine by Israel. This flotilla is a big deal. Wrote an article on my Substack when the flotilla departed from Barcelona at the end of August. They've since met in Tunisia and are now meeting the last contingent of ships that's sailing from Greece. So I'll show you the tracker here in a little bit, but the mass group of the flotilla, close to 40 ships or thereabouts, is right off the coast of Sicily. Shout out to my part of my homeland there. And like I said, they're meeting a handful of others over in off the coast of some Greek islands in the Mediterranean. No, fam, I can't play right now. So this is an update on the flotilla. A lot's happened since they departed from Barcelona, quite a bit. If you go back and read my Substack article, which I urge all you guys to do so, I talk about it quite bluntly in there, and I had it dead on the money. I said the ball is now in Israel's court with this flotilla. You know, the historic precedents are being set. Never before has a group so large, representing so many countries and free people around the world, sailed to break this siege. The siege has gone on for basically 20 years. And I have another video in the works that takes a look back at some of Banksy's work in Palestine. And that stuff took place right at the beginning of this siege in 2005. But these flotillas and these voyages have been attempting to land on the coastline of the Gaza Strip, because Israel, since 2005, has turned Gaza into the largest open-air prison in the world. Banksy's work was all about the erection of the wall at the time, you know, like we're seeing it as a new Berlin Wall, seeing it as a construction of another ghetto. And he was right on the money, right? So now in my article, talking about the flotilla when it set sail from Barcelona, I said the size of this thing puts a never before seen pressure on Israel. It's going to be very difficult for them to deal with a contingent of 50 or so ships. Much easier when the boat's all by itself and you can scuttle or board one boat, you know, which are all acts of piracy. And this is how Israel has handled the flotillas in the past, in purely illegal means. If you go back to 2010, they boarded, it was a boat that starts with the M, forgive me, but they boarded it and actually shot the people on board. It was a big scandal at the time. Add it to the list of that country's history, man. The state of Israel is nothing but a list of scandals if you look at their history, and nothing but a list of violating cultural norms, disrespecting its neighbors, and really waging war in all regard. So a lot's happened since this flotilla set sail, and we're going to do some updates really quick. And this is, for me, this is in the process of me writing an update article for the flotilla. So I just wanted to take you guys through some of these updates that happened while this thing was docked in Tunisia. So let's see here. Here's the track. So, okay, as you can see what I was talking about here, in the middle of the screen, you have Barcelona, which was the original port where they gave the first press conference. Looked like they met up with some people in the Mallorcas and then gathered down in Tunisia. Some of these updates that I'm going to give you, they're presser updates from the flotilla group itself, highlight, you know, what has happened in Tunisia, and that's where a lot of the recent events have taken place while they were gathered around the port of Tunis. Since then, they have set off now a few days ago, and as you can see, 42 ships, that's what that number means. That number corresponds to this list over here, which is a direct count of all the ships involved in this flotilla. So these 42 ships are now, it looks like they're potentially meeting at the bottom of Sicily right there. And then you have another 5 coming off of out of the Greek islands in the northeastern Mediterranean. So let's take a look. I'll drop a link for this page here in the description. I urge you guys to go and keep track of the flotilla if that interests you. Okay, so let's do the joint statement here first. This is just a press release joint statement by the flotilla group, and just really basic and talking about the principles and what the mission is about. So, joint statement: a call for immediate action to ensure humanitarian access to Gaza and to end the genocide of the Palestinian people. As elected representatives from across the world, we stand united in our urgent appeal to all governments and international bodies. We demand the following from all governments. I don't know if I can blow this up. Either way. 1. Immediate humanitarian corridor. We call on all states and relevant authorities to take every possible measure to guarantee, at a minimum, the opening of a safe and continuous humanitarian corridor to Gaza. This is a moral, legal, and humanitarian imperative. Civilians must have access to life-saving aid without obstruction or delay. 2. Protection of the civil society action, the Global Sumud Flotilla. We emphasize the right and duty of civil society to engage in a peaceful, humanitarian, nonviolent initiatives. The Global Sumud Flotilla, committed to delivering aid and standing in solidarity with the people of Gaza, must be fully protected. We call on governments and international institutions to safeguard the flotilla until it safely reaches Gaza, ensuring that its mission is neither obstructed nor endangered. We want to emphasize that the Global Sumud Flotilla initiative is a legal initiative and therefore cannot be attacked or stopped. Right? So, and that's very, very important. That second point I'm going to come back to in a second, because we've had some new news in that regard, where it was this second, the protection of the civil society action. It looks like some big time countries in the world have formed into a group that have thrown their support behind these citizens and the citizens of their country that are taking place in that flotilla. So I'll get to that in a second. And aside from that, everything that they're doing is legal under international law. Pause, sip for the big guy, like George Webb said. Okay, 3, responsibility of the international community. International humanitarian law obliges all states to protect civilians in conflict zones and to allow the delivery of humanitarian assistance. Right here. Governments must act decisively to uphold these principles without excuses or delay. This is an historic and legal responsibility that must be filled. 100% true. This is a point in history that we've never been at or seen before, and every one of us is called to act right now. As a matter of fact, I'll link a petition. Hopefully, you guys can go sign that petition for Palestine. Number 4, end the use of starvation as means of warfare, which is a breach of Article 54 of the Extra Protocols of the Geneva Convention, and to respect the right of Palestinian people to live in peace and freedom on their own land. 5, we recognize and remind our governments that any occupation is illegal under international law. We reaffirm our collective commitment to peace, human dignity, and international law. History will judge us, not by our words, but by the actions we take to protect human life in its most vulnerable moments. Now, important for this document, when I first saw this document, I was like, this is quite a bit to go over. And then it turns out that in the PDF, we got 12 pages, but these 12 pages are merely signatories. They're merely signatories. So the first page after these 5 points is we have signatories that are on board the flotilla, and it's quite a list. So you have anything from mayors, representatives, all sorts of different government officials, parliament officials from all over Europe, South America. Yep, we got South America represented, we got Europe represented, Argentina. Yep, so all sorts of signatories that are actually traveling with the flotilla. That adds a level of pressure to Israel. What are you going to do? Are you going to bomb the boat of the former member of Spain's parliament? Are you going to bomb the boat of independent socialist MP Sweden, of MP from Portugal? I mean, so really, the ball is in Israel's court, and when I show you these next few press releases and what's happened while they were in the port of Tunis waiting to set sail, you'll see how Israel has chosen to handle this and what we are now, looking forward to as the flotilla approaches landing in Gaza. And the landing looks more and more likely at this point. So it's great. It's great news. And you'll see that when I finish this report here. So aside from this list of signatories, of course, you can't expect so many of these people to be on the flotilla, right? But now we have signatories to the amount of pages. So I'll link that. And if you want to go see all the different active and former government officials that are speaking out in support of breaking the siege of Palestine and in support of the Global Sumud Flotilla, you go ahead and look at these, because all of these officials are obviously frustrated that our governments have been unable to stop the genocide and stop the ethnic cleansing of Gaza. So go ahead and check out that big list of support. That's the joint statement. Okay, so now we're going to go on and talk about the attacks that happened. This is how Israel chose to handle this, right? September 9th. So maybe some of you guys might have seen this video. I don't know if I'm going to be able to pop it in and link it as I edit this. But there was video of something coming down from the sky and striking one of the boats in the flotilla. It was at nighttime as the boats were docked in the port of Tunis. So you had an initial attack. This was the first response by the state of Israel to the gathering of this flotilla, because it had received a lot of press as it sailed from Barcelona to Tunisia. So as it gets into Tunisia and people are wondering, what is Israel going to do? How are they going to stop 50 ships? How are they going to handle the fact that you have you have 45 or so countries represented within this flotilla, citizens of the world, free people of the world? How are they going to hush this, sweep this under the rug? And their answer was, we're going to threaten you with military action. We're going to attack you like you are a military threat to us. And what you had was a suspected drone strike on one of the boats. And then the following morning, you had another strike on one of the boats. I think the first ship, the one that this press release here that I'm going to read right now is referring to, is called like the family boat or something like that. And then I believe the name of the other vessel is listed in the following report. So that's the context for these two reports. These two are updates on these ship attacks. So I'm going to read these to you guys now. September 9th, 2025, Global Sumud Flotilla continues mission despite attack. Despite last night's attack on one of our boats, the Global Sumud Flotilla remains resolute and undeterred. We are preparing to depart from Tunis pending final mechanical checks, weather assessments, and participant readiness. Our mission is clear: to expose Israel's unfolding ethnic cleansing and stand in solidarity with the Palestinian people. The aggression we endured can in no way be compared to the daily horrors that Palestinians face under Israel's brutal occupation, bombardment, and blockade. At this very moment, Israel is bombing Gaza in total darkness, under a complete communications and media blackout, deliberately seeking to silence Palestinians and erase their suffering from the world's view. This attack on our boat, anchored off the Tunisian coast, was clearly a calculated attempt to intimidate us and distract global attention from the massacres and genocide Israel is carrying out in Gaza. We are leaving on this mission. No acts of aggression will stop us. In the coming days, the flotilla will be united at sea in our mission to break the siege, to end the genocide, and to stand with the Palestinian people in their just struggle for freedom, said Saif Abu Keshek, GSF Steering Committee member. Quote, "We are a superpower as a people. We are with the Palestinian people because we are defending humanity and human rights. Today it's Palestine, tomorrow it's all of us. All eyes on Gaza," end quote. Reaffirmed Mariana Mortagua, a member of the Portuguese parliament. Mariana brings a very, very relevant point. We're seeing things carried out in Gaza that this burgeoning police state in the West will no doubt be carrying out on all of us. And they're already starting to here in America. They're starting to in Britain. Okay, let's close this up, the final paragraph. The Global Sumud Flotilla calls on governments, media, and civil society worldwide to break their silence and act decisively. As Israel attempts to bury Gaza under rubble, we will shine a light on its continued crimes. We sail forward for justice and humanity, in solidarity with the Palestinian people and with determination. Okay, so that's the release on the first boat. As you can see, they were undeterred, right? And it looked like it caused them to kind of double down and tighten up some things, because it took them a few extra days to leave Tunis. Now, of course, the very next day, that evening, was that first attack I just read. This happened the next morning. It was still dated September 9th, but the Global Sumud Flotilla confirms that on September 9th, another boat in our fleet, the Alma, was attacked by a drone as it was docked in Tunisian waters. The boat, sailing under the British flag, sustained fire damage on its top deck. The fire has since been extinguished and all passengers and crew are safe. An investigation is currently underway, and when more information is available, it will be released immediately. This marks the second such attack in 2 days. These repeat attacks come during intensified Israeli aggression on Palestinians in Gaza and are an orchestrated attempt to distract and derail our mission. The GSF continues undeterred. Our peaceful voyage to break Israel's illegal siege on Gaza and stand in unwavering solidarity with its people presses forward with determination and resolve. So this was big news, man. You had the flotilla leaving, right? Leaving Barcelona here, coming down here to Tunis to get together. The world's wondering. I wrote my article on Substack somewhere in here about, everyone was covering it about this time. And the world's wondering, what is Israel going to do? And just like I said in my article, the ball's in their court. Are you guys going to continue to commit your atrocities now on a group of internationals, of free internationals trying to break your illegal siege and provide aid to save people from starving to death? And it looks like that's exactly what they're going to do. Worse yet, the fear is that they could treat this convoy like a military convoy and just literally destroy it like a military target. These are brave people, and their best protection is going to be our attention, right, on this situation. So, boy, big stuff happened. Israel really played their hand right here when the ships were docked in Tunis. We just saw how 2 of them were attacked, and then it was right during this time that we had our last event about the flotilla that I'm going to share with you guys. And this was a press release that discusses from the flotillas. That's what I could have done. Yep. Well, for next time. This was a press release that discusses from the flotilla's perspective what Ben-Gvir, Israeli government official, had put out made statements regarding the flotilla from Israel. It ran all over international press, essentially, that the Israeli government, through Ben-Gvir, threatened the flotilla and the people participating in it with, terrorist jails, right? I forget exactly how it went here. Let's see. We'll read the Sumud statement here first. Ben-Gvir plans to designate Global Sumud Flotilla activists as terrorists and seize boats. September 4th, 2025. So this was right before they landed in Tunisia. In a matter of days, the Global Sumud Flotilla will reach the shores of Tunisia, where we will be joined by additional vessels before continuing our journey to Gaza shores, carrying life-saving humanitarian aid. We will not be perturbed by the baseless threats of Israeli officials. Our mission is humanitarian, lawful, and unstoppable. To that end, the Global Sumud Flotilla strongly condemns the threats by Israeli National Security Minister Itam Ben-Gvir in an attempt to intimidate our participants and falsely brand them as terrorists. Such threats are not only baseless and unjust, but constitute a blatant violation of international humanitarian law and the Geneva Conventions. Israel's colonial settler occupation has long weaponized such tactics and used them against the Palestinian people, criminalizing, brutalizing, and dehumanizing them, as well as silencing peaceful protests and humanitarian solidarity with the Palestinians, in a desperate attempt to suppress global calls for justice. This latest attempt to intimidate our coalition is a continuation of the similar violent strategy used against Palestinian civilians, journalists, medics, and international activists who dare to stand against apartheid and genocide. Under international law, Gaza's 40-kilometer long Mediterranean coastline is controlled by the people of Gaza. The people of Gaza have the right to receive ships, goods, and people through their territorial waters. Furthermore, Palestinians should have sovereign rights to use their own sea for trade, fishing, and travel. However, since 2007, Palestinians have been victims of comprehensive illegal sea, air, and land blockade imposed by Israeli occupation. The GSF stands united in its humanitarian mission to deliver urgently needed food, water, and medical supplies to the Palestinian people enduring a catastrophic genocide, famine, and spiraling health crisis caused by Israel's illegal siege on Gaza. Our coalition, representing 44 countries, comprises doctors, nurses, elected representatives, journalists, and human rights advocates committed solely to alleviating human suffering. And you can add to that list, I know for a fact there's at least one ship that has multiple U.S. Military veterans on. And I think there's even a larger contingent than just the one ship. A guy on YouTube that's a military vet that's on the flotilla, and I've been watching some of his videos. I'm going to see if I can dig one of them up here to link it. So, you know, in the United, for all you guys out there internationally, here in the U.S., our politicians at least like to act like military veterans demand some sort of treatment, right? So the fact that you have U.S. military veterans on board this flotilla only amps up the pressure on Israel. Let's see. We call on the international community, the United Nations, and all governments stand firmly with us and guarantee our safe passage into Gaza. Furthermore, we invite independent observers and media to join us in documenting our voyage to ensure full transparency and accountability. No intimidation, no smear campaign, and no act of brutality can silence the global demand for justice, dignity, and humanitarian aid. We've come together to do all we can to break the blockade and deliver hope to Gaza's children and families. So things are amping up. If we put this in proper context, as you just saw there by the dates, this escalated in a reverse form of what I just showed them to you. So first, you had the flotilla departing from Barcelona at the end of August. It got all types of international press coverage, and people started to look to Israel, wondering what are they going to do? How are they going to handle this? Their first response was to float these threats through Ben Gvir and through the press that they control, and let everybody know on board that, hey, if you come and you do this, we're taking your boats and we're going to throw you in terrorist jails, right? So threatening their safety, security, and livelihood. And you had the flotilla remain steadfast, true to its name, and as they gathered then in the port of Tunis, they were attacked twice by Israeli drones. Should say allegedly, but I think we all, Israel has denied that these were their drones, but everybody knows who's doing this, and that's what we got. One of the skillful things that the rest of the world has done in Ukraine, Russia started this tactic, and Iran has kept it up, perfected it, and the rest of the world has really followed suit. They have fallen back as far as, well, who knows? They may have really fought like this the whole time, and I think in the West we've been lied to for a long time, but it's becoming clear to see that it's Iran that doesn't bomb civilian targets. It's Russia that doesn't destroy civilian targets. Now, things have changed since then. That's as that theater's turned to all-out war. But the rest of the world has allowed the West, and mainly Israel, but us giving them, supporting them, in the U.S., the rest of the world has allowed us to act as barbarians and act without any sorts of moral compass, and you're seeing that's how this genocide has been committed. So by now, as say an attack on Doha is carried out, or say an assassination in America of Charlie Kirk, or say 2 drones hitting this flotilla in the middle of the Mediterranean. There's no like argument or wonder over who's responsible for these things. There's really only one country in the world that is doing anything like this. You have the Ukrainian hit list, of course, and death list. So, you could count the Azov brigades in there who are like CIA linked and tied in. But they kind of answer all to the same head. So you have like United States, Israeli, hegemonic power, which they don't have anymore, but, centered power, you could say. These are the groups that are carrying out attacks on civilians, that are breaking the norms, international norms of warfare, that are breaking the international norms of diplomacy. This has been skillfully done by the rest of the world, this process of falling back and allowing Israel and us to show ourselves for what we are. This is also one of the reasons why I say we don't have much time left in America. Speaking to us now, our citizens, because the rest of the world sees us and they're acting like this. They're watching this happen. They're wondering, when will it end? How can we stop it? And they're also wondering, what are you citizens in the West doing about it? Don't you guys see it by now? I know you guys see it by now. Now with the Charlie Kirk thing, I know you guys see it by now. And they're wondering why we're not doing anything about it. And I'm telling you, we're losing time day by day. We're not far away from a point where we're not going to be able to do anything to not go down hand in hand with Israel. And that's the worst possible future that we could have in America. So God bless everybody out there. Till next time, stay up. God bless. Peace.